With me on the show today is a veteran acting coach, Stephanie Halber. Now, with a decade of coaching experience already under her belt, Stephanie helps actors to be independent artists with her unique approach to custom curriculums, teaching audition techniques, script analysis, scene study, physicality, breath awareness, character development. All of that is just some of the things that you'll learn about Stephanie if you see her profile below and you want to book a session. Now, she offers one-on-one coaching. She does self-tape work as well as ongoing lessons. She can help you with on-set prep. But what I think so many actors are going to find exciting about working with Stephanie is the direct and one-on-one interaction that makes every experience very visceral and very personal for them. And that comes from somewhere special. She's a firm believer that helping actors to develop the tools they need to be independent artists is about being flexible in the ways that they take direction. They've got to have trust in the unique choices of their material, and she works with them on those sorts of things. She custom tailors all her sessions to adapt to each individual actor's learning style, while she likes to meet the professional demands that are expected in the audition rooms and on set as well. And she is no stranger to audition rooms, having been someone who has been on the casting side, and even in the early part of her career, running camera. You've probably been through over 5,000 casting sessions or auditions, haven't you, Stephanie?
Yeah, I have. It's crazy. I know.
We're going to get into that. And thank you very much for joining us, and welcome to the show.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I've wanted to interview you for a while. I think you've got such an interesting background. And as a coach, having talked to some of your past students or clients, everybody seems to really love working with you. Are you surprised when you hear that people have had such an emotional response to working with you? Does that surprise you?
I think it's exciting. It is surprising, like not surprising, but it's humbling, I guess. I'm really excited that I can be there for people and connect with them in that way. And it's really great to watch my clients grow and start from the bare beginnings and booking all the way to amazing things. So it's been a really fun journey to share with them, for sure.
You've taught at Biz Studio, West Point Grey Academy, Victoria Academy of Dramatic Arts, the Screen Actors Studio in Victoria, Kate Rubin. You taught film to students even in low-income schools through Arts Reach. You love teaching, don't you?
I come from a line of teachers. There's a lot of teachers in my family. And then there's also a lot of particularly arts teachers in my family. So I kind of come from a lineage of teaching and sharing arts with other people. My great-grandmother, she taught fashion and etiquette in Mexico. My great-grandmother in Cuba, she taught English to people that were illiterate in Cuba as well. So it's in the
DNA.
It's in the DNA. I think I was just born to share my love of the arts with people around me, particularly with kids, but adults too. So
talk to me about that point in your life where Stephanie realized, I want to work in the entertainment industry. I want to work with actors. I want to be in that room where all that magic is happening. When did you know?
I think I knew from when I was a kid. I started my love for this industry actually with singing. And so I always grew up studying voice and classical voice and singing at weddings. I was that little kid. And then, my work ethic really started even when I was in high school. I did choir and musical theater and band and jazz band and guitar and dance and basically anything I could get my hands on. And I couldn't stop. I was so hungry for it. And really when I was in that space, I felt like I was home, like the theater was my home. And so connecting with people that have various different elements of being a performing artist, I think because I dabbled in so many things when I was younger, I really like exploring those things with my clients and figuring out like, what's your thing that you're nerdy about? And if it's not just acting, looking at performers as a whole and seeing what are they excited about. Sometimes it's singing or dance, and how can we bring that element of performing and artistry into the world of acting and make it applicable for film and television. And so from there, then I went to musical theater school, of course, like any true musical theater kid would, and then transitioned into the film and TV land that I am now in.
That's right.
So it's, then I left theater completely, but I still sing, when I'm on my own all the time. And it's been really fun to enter the world of film and television.
Do you
and share it with people.
Do you have a preference of the types of coaching or the types of clients through CWBLive you're going to want to work with? Does music really call you, or should actors who maybe have no musical background feel free to book time and learn from you? Do you have any preference at all on those types of things?
Definitely, I've specialized in film and television because I have such a background in casting now, and I've seen so many auditions. The main goal is to get you working in the film and television sector of the industry, working in commercials, TV series and films. But I think the thing that I try and do is I try and look at artists as full performing artists and look at the craft, not just of acting, but figuring out what is it about each individual client that makes them unique. Sometimes I have clients, especially when I was working like in low income schools and I was teaching film, for instance, I'd have 8-year-olds that would come to class writing full film scripts. And I went, oh my gosh, here's a kid with so much potential. How do we tap into that and explore that and network you with the right person so that we can grow that? I have other people that come to me that are dancers, that maybe are adult ballet dancers, and they want to transition to film and television. So I think finding that uniqueness about each person is really critical. I have another client in New York right now. She comes from a full background. She has a solo show. She's traveling, doing her solo show in theater, and she's transitioning into film. So I've done a lot of like theater to film transitions, and also a lot of like veteran actors that have been in the film and television industry a long time and just want to clean up their chops a bit.
Stephanie, talk to me about what it's going to be like to book a session with you. How do you approach coaching one-on-one with the actors you work with? Are you tough? Are you boot camp, drill sergeant? Do you get in there in the scene with them? What's your style, and how do you approach that work?
I definitely start each session by taking a moment to learn about who I'm working with. And the biggest thing that I take the time to do is figuring out, how do you learn? I think we can talk about acting technique and Meisner and Stanislavski and Uta Hagen all day long. But what it comes down to is that we have to figure out, how does your brain absorb information, and how do you then process information and put it into your body? And so some of my learners are really visual people. Some people are really kinesthetic. Some people learn best by auditory thinking. Some people learn best like logistical thinking or verbal exploration and explaining a scene to me. So I really like to take the time and figure out, how do you learn? How does your brain tick? And then when I give you notes, I'm going to adjust my coaching style to fit that person. Because I think what's important to remember is that you as an artist are developing your craft about what works for you. And so I have to figure out, I think it's part of my passion for teaching, is how do I connect with each individual student? And sometimes that's different for adults than it is with kids. Sometimes kids have different needs and learning needs. Sometimes they have learning disabilities, or sometimes they have different cognitive abilities in terms of how they interpret the world around them. So trying to take the time to do that first, and then really working with each client and getting, creating a space where I can kind of gauge, are you the person who likes to be pushed, or are you like the person who likes to just sit in a scene and explore it slowly and have a little bit more time to maybe think about your character, or maybe you're kinesthetic and you just want to do the scene 50, 100 billion times in as many different ways as possible and say that one sentence 20 ways until you nail it. And so I think that's what I get excited about, is figuring out how each person is unique, and then really working with them to find something that really works for you, if that makes sense.
Oh, it absolutely does. I think you've got a sensitivity to what actors have to feel all the time in a profession that, has got a lot of rejection in it. Even when you're really good, there's a lot of factors not, within an actor's control. And I like that you have such an understanding of that side of it. You've been in the room and you've seen it so much. What do you say to actors who are looking for, more immediate results? Maybe they're in a slump and they want to take a new approach to their audition techniques, or they want to look at a better way to approach a scene to really make an impression on a callback. can it happen really quickly, or like anything, like going to the gym, have you got to put the time and the work in? How have you structured your sessions that way? And what do you think of that approach? Is it possible to see results really quickly?
I think there is a balance of both. I think you have to be able to have like the foundations of your craft to know and have the tools to make those quick fixes. But just because maybe you are not feeling completely steady in your craft, or maybe your craft is developing and changing, maybe you're entering a new phase, then we can clean up your audition technique really quickly. And that comes from, just script analysis, really getting to know your character, cleaning up your on-camera technique, finding the physicality, making sure you're acting from head to toe. That's the biggest thing I learned from watching so many auditions. I think as coaches, particularly where we're from, which is Vancouver, so much of the coaching that I see sometimes is just from here to here. And a lot of the auditions are from here to here. And we forget that there's all this physicality from the neck down.
Yeah.
And when you have that awareness in your body, and where do you hold tension? How do your characters sit? How do they breathe differently? How do you breathe differently when you're upset or calm or vulnerable? That can make a huge difference in a scene really fast just by changing your breath. So are there quick fixes? I think there's quick tap-ins to technique that we can find that is really effective. But I think that doesn't replace, the hours and hours and hours of training and craft building that is needed as well. And just like in any art form, if it were dance or painting or, architecture, you still got to put your 10,000 hours in.
Stephanie, why do you love coaching? I mean, you light up when you talk about it.
I know. It's
what
my
is it?
favorite thing.
What is it about it that is so that draws you in so much? Why do you love it?
I think I just really like working with people. I like exploring scenes with them. I like building people up, and I think my job isn't done unless you leave my room feeling better about yourself leaving my space than you did when you entered it. And I think if there's anything where if you're not having fun, then I've let you down. You know what I mean? Like I've damaged your career. And so I'm a true advocate of making sure that when you leave, you always leave with a nugget of learning or confidence or something that maybe you've never thought of before, so that you can continue to take that into your next audition. Because at the end of the day, I can't follow you to set and I can't follow you to the audition room. And so I have to make sure that each client that enters coaching with me has the tools to feel confident to enter any of the spaces that they have to go to next. And maybe that's set, or maybe that's the callback, and maybe that's your next audition. But figuring out what that is for you, I think it's just fun for me. It's like unraveling really exciting puzzles.
What do you think of the technology right now? I mean, you are going to be one of the first certified CWBLive virtual coaches. And you've been doing this now for 10 years. And in that time, coaching and acting hasn't probably evolved that much. And all of a sudden we're in this world where the technology is going to allow you to work with actors all over the world. Is that exciting to you? Is that daunting to you?
No.
Do you feel like something might get lost through the camera that isn't always there in the room? How are you feeling about that?
I'm actually really excited about it. I think the more that we enter the technology age, it's just unfortunately a part of evolution, I think, of where education is headed. And I think that having the ability to have access to education, regardless of where you are, is a really exciting concept. We're seeing that more and more in the education system, more and more in custom curriculums and tailored learning for each person. You can find information about anything at any time. And so having the ability to connect with actors from coast to coast, or even maybe, different countries or, different continents, I think it actually brings us closer together rather than separating us. And I think that, with repetition, and I think the more that we connect in this way, it actually allows for a more customized one-on-one experience that maybe I don't always have the opportunity to share with someone had they have to come and visit me in person. So I'm really excited about this platform. And I think it's really smart of Casting Workbook and where you guys are headed. I think you're like right on the money in terms of growing within the industry and seeing how that's going to change the casting world, and already how it's changed casting during COVID, I think is going to be really crucial.
I think you're right. And it's been a lot of fun to build the program. And I'll be really excited to talk to you ongoing as more and more clients reach out to work with you. For those of them that now have had a look at your page, they're about to book, they're not sure, they're trying to figure out if virtual coaching is exactly what they need to help take their career to the next level, or really help them through a slump or an audition barrier they might be reaching. What do you say to those actors if they're considering working with you? What would you say?
Just come have a consultation.
Yeah.
I'm always willing to give clients my time. And I think that building rapport is, I think that's a really important part of the job. So if you're still wondering about things, just feel free to shoot me an email through the system, or maybe book like a little 15-minute consultation. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have, where you want to take your career next, what's the next thing that you're excited to tackle, and figuring out, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and how are we going to work together to collaborate on that and to help all those actors grow as best they can.
Stephanie, I wish we had more time. We could talk so much about some of the incredible things you've done, some of the Leo Awards you've been nominated for, and the awards you've won, jury prize at the East Van Showcase for your best film on Cypher. There, you bring so much to this experience. I'm excited for actors to work with you. Will you come and do the show another time for us?
I would love to. Yes.
I will look forward to that. And for all of you there who want to get to know Stephanie, you can see her profile page below. You can see some information about the different sessions she's offering on CWBLive. Book a consultation and connect with her directly, just like I did. It's the best way to get to know everything that she might be able to do to help take your craft and your career to the next level. Stephanie, thanks so much. We'll see you next time, okay?
Great. Thank you.